Good morning, everyone. Welcome, welcome. And I also want to welcome everyone joining us on the live stream from all around the world. Today feels especially auspicious for many reasons. Of course, the daffodils and the tulips, the redbuds, the hydrangeas, they are all signaling renewal and rebirth. Even the budding, get this, even the budding of a brand new relationship with our new sister Sangha in Crestone, Colorado. I have been speaking with the Abbess Ani Lodro from Vajra Vidya Retreat Center in Crestone. So if they're joining us this morning, we open our hearts from our Sangha to your Sangha. And so there is some discussion of a road trip, so more about that later. And of course, we certainly want to wish a happy Easter to all of our friends here in the Christian tradition. And I do get a lot of questions from members of our Sangha regarding our practice and this holiday. And so for me, I can absolutely appreciate the Easter story and all the teachings that come with it. And even more importantly, to share in the joy of those who celebrate this particularly highest holy day in the Christian tradition. So to share in their joy and their celebration, their revelry is absolutely a part of our practice. And as they do celebrate this holiday, it is not really all that different than our practice, where each day is a little more sacred than the one before, because with intention and awareness, we grow in wisdom with every new experience. Both Passover and Easter face death and birth head on and announce the greater truth that the opposite of death is not life. The opposite of death is birth. Life is eternal and springs forward not only visibly so that we see it each and every day, but within us as practitioners. And this brings us back to the story of Easter and the deeper teaching of renewal, rebirth, or as Sharon Salzberg, a very popular Buddhist teacher, puts it, the art of starting over. So my feeling is that the real resurrection, so to speak, of Jesus does not rely on whether he rose from the dead or not. I would think that the deeper meaning of this occurs when practitioners in the Christian tradition resurrect the teachings of Jesus within their hearts and minds. Zen Master Thich Nhat Hanh says that the second coming of Christ is not going to be a form showing up on the planet. It is the flowering of those teachings in everyone's hearts. In the same way, each time we, as Buddhist practitioners, renew our focus, renew our awareness to the present moment, free of judgment, decision-making, stories, and commentary, are we not reborn the Buddha in that moment? When we open our hearts and minds to each moment as it arrives, then the Buddha comes alive for us. Shakyamuni Buddha is not just a great teacher that lived over 2,500 years ago, but is a living teacher in a spiritual sense and starts over through us each and every moment that we are aware and involved in our practice, engaged in our practice even. However, I will certainly notice that our world today is always on, isn't it? Our world today is always connected. We become addicted to thinking, caught up in internal and external distractions. And it's not even just the going and the getting, but also the spending and the repairing, the texting, the calling, the Skyping, tweeting, 24-hour endless news programs, multitasking. All of these things fragment our energy. They fragment our ability to concentrate. And so it makes it increasingly difficult to be present with all of these myriad distractions. And we are often left feeling somewhat fatigued, helpless, anxious, burned out. Each of us is a combination of many traits, of many different states of mind, many different abilities and drives. They are all part of us. Some qualities are perhaps opposites, and we can spend a lot of our lifetime basically resolving and integrating competing characteristics and needs. When our attention, however, is tuned in, when we are aware of ourselves, these different parts of us begin to work in concert, and they begin to work in balance. When we are distracted, they do not. And that's when we feel compartmentalized or even stagnant. Meditation and training our attention allows us to find an essential cohesiveness, not only within our practice, but with each connecting moment. Things begin to feel more empowered, more connected. We feel more a part of our community, our family, our global Sangha, if you will. You see, it is the thinking itself that something is blocking our path. It is the thinking that it's all this other stuff that doesn't allow me to practice. It's that thinking itself is the thing that creates a self and separation. Thinking that life is happening to me instead of for me. It is all these things that we begin to embrace and bring into our practice, and we bring awareness to them. This is the key. Whatever we make wrong is an opportunity to start over. Whatever we make bad blocks the light. Whatever we carry from the past is a heavy bag of rocks and slows us down. Whatever we fear in the future is a landslide, so we get caught up in all of these things. And so our practice helps us to not run from, not avoid, not cling to something that numbs us out to all of these aspects of our life, aspects of our personality, characteristics, but instead assists us and helps us to get up, dust ourselves off, and with intention and awareness, we realize that what is in the way is the way. We start over each moment when we realize, each moment when we give our full attention to whatever you are doing, you will recognize the constant renewal of life all around you. We start over every time we walk the path of beauty and notice the spiritual radiance of people, places, and things. When you see the flowers as well as the thorns, embracing them all as a part of our practice, moment by moment. We start over every time that when with compassion, you open your heart to the pain of the world. You help beings who are suffering come back into the land of the living. We start over when we cultivate awareness and aliveness. The walls of separation come crashing down and new life can spring up out of the rubble. We start over every time when we regularly practice metta or tonglen or loving kindness practice for others as a part of our devotional activities. Every time we do this, we are practicing this concept or idea that our friends in the Christian tradition bring when they talk about resurrection. Enthusiasm is the mark of a life giver, a person who is in love with life and life is in love with them. When we can laugh and sing and relish life, we are practicing this idea of rebirth or resurrection or renewal. Every time you forgive someone, another rebirth, another renewal is in the making. We are starting over. I could go on and on. So to keep me from going on and on, I made a copy of this and I put it at the front of the room. So we only have one day today, so once Victor gets going, you know how that is. So I would invite you to, as in a way to celebrate this auspicious day, I would invite you to do something symbolic to honor your place in this grand universal garden or this grand cosmic symphony that we are a beautiful note in and playing forever. Perhaps light a candle and say a blessing for life force moving through this and all bodies. I celebrate our dear friend and Sangha member Chelsea, who made torma muffins for us today and are downstairs in the hospitality room. These little muffins that in the Buddhist tradition are just celebratory pastries, making sure that the tongue can celebrate with the rest of us, right? So she brought those along and those are down there for us as well. These little acts of love and kindness, you see, it is the egoic mind that says that's not enough. You're not doing enough. But every smile, every hug, every torma muffin, every embrace is a renewal, is a starting over constantly. So make a commitment, even if just for today, to go within, be silent. Perhaps each day taking a little time to let your internal guidance know that you are listening for those little renewal, those little insights and little sprouts. Just like the buds and the red buds and all the flowers in the garden. I don't know, when you get a chance today, when you leave, be sure and look at the gardens around the temple. There's little buds everywhere. Many of them are hiding. That's kind of this renewal hides. That's why our practice, that's why we are absolutely built for this, because it is in the stillness and it is in the silence that those little buds of renewal, those little sprouts of insight show up for us. And when we honor those, we are honoring renewal, rebirth, resurrection, whatever terms you want to call it. And so we let our inner voice know that, hey, in fact, you have a very important role in our life. And I'm going to be spending more time listening to that inner voice, that soft little whisper, that little inner voice. And when we shift into wonder, and curiosity. There is an opening to a much deeper wisdom. Our power is a shift from the perspective where not knowing could be seen as weakness and powerlessness. And our practice is a shifting to a new way of being where wonder and curiosity are the ultimate source of power and strength. Not this focus on not knowing, being weak, being powerlessness. No, as practitioners, we live and relish the mystery of life as it unfolds for us moment by moment. I felt that this was very well captured in the poem by William Wordsworth called Daffodils. Some of you might recognize this. And with so many of them popping up everywhere, I wanted to share this with you this morning. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing with the breeze, continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way. They stretched in a never-ending line all along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in a sprightly dance. I gazed and I gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For often, when on my couch I lie in a vacant or pensive mood, they flash upon my inward eye, which is bliss, the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with every one of those daffodils. Thank you all.